Hey, you. Have you guys ever had a moment where everyone around you is all just focused and breathless on the same thing?
Like a car accident?
I was going to go with maybe like a sports event or like a
Oh,
flyover, but yeah, car accident. That's same thing.
I was thinking of a really cute man.
Like someone walks by and everyone just kind of goes, "Ooh."
When you're like, I walk by a Chris Pine poster and go,
You should all check out our Instagram because there was a very cute man next to our book booth at the LA Festival of Books. And so we took some pictures, myself and Teresa. You just have to check out our Instagram to see. It was very famous, very steamy gentleman. And with that, this first page critique we're doing today is young adult, which we haven't done in a while, so I'm excited for that. It's not about steamy men, but it is
oh, come
involving
on.
everybody focused on the same thing. And this is Molly.
I'm Morgan.
I'm Teresa. And if you have a Steamy Man first page critique,
We want to
submit
read
it.
that.
Or
Semi-sages
women.
of the
Or
pages.com or
women.
women.
Steamy. Thank you for joining us for another edition of First Page Critiques. Wow, wow, wow. As you might know by now, but if you're new to the game here, we do the even better if methodology. So we talk about what we love, and then we talk about what would be even better if something changed, so that we can do our best to make sure your story is the best version of it that it can be. Should we jump into it?
I think so.
Oh, if you like it, don't forget to like and subscribe. All right. Our story today, the first page, is called The Prodigy Paradigm. There's a man floating over the Brooklyn Bridge, right over where the giant cables stretch like long fingers clawing at the sky. He looks unconscious, but I know he's awake. Hannah was awake. His body sways further up. If I didn't know any better, it'd look like he's being carried away and cradled by the breeze. I lower my camera, not wanting to see up close what happens next. I don't want to see his face. I don't want to see Hannah's face. Shaking scared, begging me for help, and I couldn't even move an inch. Haru, Sophia murmurs, her eyes wide with dread when they lock onto the amber light that's now shimmering around the man. Soft at first, then it blazes into a big beacon, and for a moment it feels like it'll spread out and swallow everything. But instead, it shoots up into the gray sky, carrying the man in a cocoon of yellow starlight. The same way it took Hannah. The same as Mom. Sophia grabs my hand. Her fingers are cold against mine. We don't say it, but we both think. Why? What did he do? Why did he deserve it? Every time it happens, it's like the whole city holds its breath for a moment. And here we are, staring up, not sure how to feel. The soccer game below us has paused. Nobody is chasing after that checkered ball. All the players' heads are tilted up. The crowd's cheer has gone silent. Even the referee is so far gone. It's strange how these moments of collective fear can make the world seem so small, so connected. Like we're all equal because something in the sky sees us that way.
Wow.
Brilliant. Thank you for sharing that with us. Wow.
Wow, what a first line. There's a man floating over the Brooklyn Bridge. Like, that's an incredible first line. Like, that makes you do a double take where you're like, wait, floating over the Brooklyn Bridge. And so well orients us to the place that it's at. Just it's absolutely incredible.
The suspense is good. The connection to Hannah is good. The details about Sophia being cold is good. The idea how it brings us together and its focus is good. The style that I think this author is a genius at being able to describe but not get lost in the description. So the description is adding to the story, to the emotion, to the connection, to the humanity, and not just the details. Really, really well done.
Yeah, I think that's my favorite is the efficiency of this first page. I love. Everything builds
Real.
and ties together. The word choice, what is, as Morgan's saying, what the author is choosing to focus on, how they're choosing to focus on, the way that the thoughts are interspersed with description. We're we're not getting a ton of world building, but we're learning a lot very fast, both in terms of we don't know why this person is being sucked up into the sky, but we know maybe it's bad, but maybe it's not bad, maybe we don't know how to feel. Like, there's so much packed into this space, and yet we don't feel overwhelmed. We have questions, but we're not confused about where we are,
Another
so I
thing
think
they
it's
do
really good.
Another thing they do really well is I was reading about how intermediate writers go to advanced, and this is an advanced writer. And
Mm-hmm.
one of the things they do is they use images we all know, but in a unique way.
Mm.
So we all have seen images of someone being lost in light or being pulled up in light, either from like angels or aliens or something. So they're messing with an image we already have and an experience we have, but in a unique way, and then making it personal because of the loss of the character and whoever their Hannah is, whether it's their daughter or their wife, or their sister, or whoever their Hannah is.
I also love the emotion in this. This author does an absolutely amazing job of describing emotion. Sophia grabs my hand. Her fingers are cold against mine. It's incredible. You're not saying that this character is scared. You're not saying that this character is feeling a strong emotion, but you're showing it really well. The city holds its breath for a moment. That's emotion. That's sheer emotion in a beautiful description.
I'm doubling down on what you say. When people talk about showing, not telling, that is what this author is doing here, and it's really good. And it's really difficult to show emotions sometimes, and complicated emotions like this. This is complex. It's got a lot of layers to it, and this author does a really great job of connecting not only the narrator's emotion, but Sophia's emotions, the whole city's emotion, and it's really good.
So as difficult as this is going to be, I'm going to do an even better if, because I know.
That's what we're here for.
But for me, in the very second line, when the cables reach up to claw, it took me out of the scene because I think the power of the second line is that he looks unconscious, linking it to the guy floating over the bridge. And I don't know cables that just reach up and hang out like that. So then I didn't understand, because when I see bridges, the cables are attached to something. And so they're not reaching up like claws to the sky. And so then it creates a confusion in my head because I can't see it anymore. Either it's so unique that it's not my world and it doesn't look like the bridges that I know, in which case the author doesn't go on to give me anything else besides this one detail. And also, it takes me off of the man who's floating. And if it's the Brooklyn Bridge, it should look like the Brooklyn Bridge, right? So that is it. I love everything else about this piece. I would just rework that one detail. I know what the author's going for with the emotion of clawing and what's happening there, but I think that's an example where I would flip things around a little bit, or he looks unconscious floating above the cables, something like that. Even just flipping the sentence itself might give you exactly what you want and keep the focus in the right place.
Or using a different metaphor that's faster to understand in the brain.
Well, yeah, just because the cables themselves don't sit up, right? They have to.
Yeah, they attach.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get you.
And I'm not sure clawing is the right word choice in this for the emotion in this story. Clawing to me is very visceral, and the rest of the words aren't quite as like graphically visceral. Like, I think
Like,
clawing, like there's blood and skin and yeah, and
or like reaching or stretching.
yeah, and that's
Spanning.
not
Feeling. Yeah.
yeah. I agree with that one. I think for me, I think my even better if is very minor because I honestly I would want to read more to find out if this is even a thing. I was a little confused and a little bit hazy about what was going on. Like the camera, I don't want to see Hannah's face shaking, scared, begging me for help, and I couldn't even move an inch. I was a little confused there, but I think that that question is probably answered further on. Um, and so it's probably a non-point. But for just this little section, for me, I was a little bit like, wait, who, what, huh? What's going on?
And I was okay with that because I wanted to read more because I think it's a little flashback and I need to read more to find out what really happened to poor Hannah. So
Exactly.
I liked that.
Yeah, I was fine with that. I might have to break here because this is a genuine question. So this might not be a critique because I'm not positive here. But in this sentence here, his body sways further up. If I didn't know any better, it'd look like he's being carried and cradled by the breeze. Is that a tense issue? Or
I thought it might have been too, but it's complex.
it is a complex sentence.
There's a man, so it's present tense, right?
Yeah, his body
Body
sways. That's, yeah.
If I didn't know, that's fine because it's speculative and speculative voice that takes the correct tense. If I didn't, he's great.
Know
That's fine.
any better, it would look like he is being carried and cradled by the breeze. I actually thought there was a tense issue too,
But
but
I don't think
think there is. No.
Yeah. All right.
I think that's just us bad grammar. When we talk aloud, we use bad grammar.
No, I just wanted to make sure because I had a moment. I was like, I think this is actually right. Anyway, so my real critique. I think
Can I help with that? Can I give a grammar solution before that? His body sways further up. Either needs a period there or a semicolon. It's a run-on sentence, is what you found. So if you get it, it's if his body his body sways further up. That's a complete sentence. And if I didn't know any better, comma, that's a prepositional phrase. It'd look like he'd been carried and cradled by the breeze. Period.
oh,
I would actually take out the apostrophe in that and say it would, because that fixes that. On reading it aloud, it feels weird.
It still doesn't change the fact you have a run-on, so you still got to have a semicolon before the if or a period, and then do the comma after the dependent clause.
Absolutely. I'm just adding on to that.
yeah. I would say so. My real it's really actually a very small thing. Was just like you'll notice when I was reading it, and I read it cold, right? I read it cold. But there were a couple of times where I stumbled, a couple of times where, things were difficult for me to say. And Teresa caught one of them. It'd look. I think on the page, that works. If someone's going to read it out loud, very difficult to say. There were a couple of times where I think I might have said something slightly different than what was written. So if you're the author and, that is important to you, you can either just say, oh, Molly's brain works in a different way. I'm going to ignore it, keep what I have. Or maybe it streamlined slightly what you were saying. So just something to keep in mind that a piece when read is sometimes different than the piece when it's on the page. Otherwise, okay. I really love it.
You got to tell us in the comments where we can read it, how we can promote it. Tell us more. I'm sure it might even already be published by now. This is an incredible piece. Let us know. We're so excited to champion this work. It's amazing.
It really is.
Yeah.
So don't forget to like and subscribe. and join us on our Discord. Come hang out with us. That Discord is popping. Every time I jump on there, I'm like, oh my gosh, there's so many conversations happening, so many people in our community helping each other. So come hang out with us.
Greatest writers on earth on our Discord, and I am totally biased because I love my people.
All right.
All right.
I think that's it. So
See you on
Go Writes.
Discord.
Go right.
Take care. Bye now.